Well, hey there. Welcome to Rural Strong Live. Today presented by the folks at Nutrien. Our special guest is Mike Howell, senior agronomist with Nutrien. He's the host of the great program, The Dirt, which you can hear on Rural Strong Radio each week and the Tractors and Troubadours radio show and podcast. And Mike, welcome into the program.
Thanks a lot. Great to be with you today.
Oh, man, I tell you what, it's great to be here in person with you here. We hear you every week with the great show, The Dirt. And I don't know about everybody else listening, but I'm learning a whole lot here and really appreciate you guys bringing that show to the Rural Strong Media brands.
Well, we really enjoy the partnership and getting the word out. We started this out for educational purposes, and it's great to hear that people are learning from these programs.
We love it. And before we get going here, I don't want to make you have to rehash your whole history here, but I thought what I would do instead is let everybody listen to the background you shared on episode 1, season 1 of the podcast. So everybody check this out.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first edition of The Dirt. I'm your host, Mike Howell, senior agronomist with Nutrien. The Dirt podcast is designed to be an educational outreach to deliver timely agronomic and soil fertility research, news, and information that listeners can use to become better educated on these topics. We will also have guest speakers join me to bring their expertise on the topic of the day. In addition, we will have some regular guests that will join us to provide information on topics like global market trends and weather trends that will affect crop production. The Dirt is being brought to you by eKonomics, farming's go-to information resource. On the eKonomics website, www.nutrien-economics.com, you will find concise summaries of the latest crop nutrition research, tips and tools for more productive soils, industry news, commodity futures prices, rainfall data, as well as our nutrient ROI calculator and nationwide nutrient balance analysis, and much, much more. Before we get started with this first episode, I want to take a few seconds and introduce myself. I am Mike Howell, senior agronomist with Nutrien. I've been with Nutrien for about 10 years now and provide technical support primarily to the eastern and southern regions of the United States. I'm based in South Mississippi, where I've lived for most of my life. Agriculture has been a way of life for me as long as I can remember. I grew up on a university research farm here in Mississippi, and at a young age I became interested in agriculture. I was a member of 4-H, with my main project being agriculture. As part of this project, I learned about cattle, sheep, soils, crop production, and numerous other topics related to agriculture. Through this, I had the opportunity to explore many areas of agriculture across the United States. After high school, I attended Mississippi State University, where I earned a BS degree in soil science and a master's degree in entomology. After graduation, I worked as an agronomic research manager on a research farm in the Mississippi Delta, and later served as an extension agent with the Mississippi State University Extension Service. In July of 2012, I joined the Agrium team, which later merged to form Nutrien.
So there you have it, the background on our special guest today, Mike Howell with Nutrien. Mike, so tell me a bit about how you went about deciding we're gonna launch a podcast here because this is a way to get the word out about what we're up to.
Well, I had kind of been thinking about the idea for a couple of months, and we had a meeting with our marketing team, and it just so happens that they had the same idea and asked me if I would be interested in doing the podcast. And we talked about it and decided that it was something that was definitely worth doing. We thought there was a need out there for this type of information. So that's pretty much how it got started.
How do you go about selecting the topics for it?
We had a list of topics that we brainstormed and came up with a pretty good list. And then, just in all of our daily travels, we come up about a topic that, hey, that would make a good show. And we decided to put those on the show and work them in. So it's, we don't have a set program anymore. We just kind of let it flow, and whatever the topic of the day happens to be, we'll run with it.
One of the things I like about the program is you kind of take subject like we've been running through soil sampling and break it down into stages, so it brings the listener back multiple times and helps kind of pull them into it. But it also gives you a chance to kind of break this up into digestible chunks. I mean, we're talking 17 to 24 minutes on most of those, so it's a small investment in time to learn quite a lot.
Well, and I did a lot of research before we did the first episode, and what a lot of people told me was if you get much more than 20 or 30 minutes, people will lose interest. That's the average commute time for somebody driving back and forth to work, and they can listen to it driving in the car. And I've even had people tell me they listen during their workout routines at the gym. So keep it short and build on it from there.
Another thing that's really struck me is the guests that you've had on the show. You really tap into a lot of great agronomic knowledge from the universities. How are guests selected for the program?
Well, in my role with Nutrien, I do work with a lot of land grant universities. We work with agronomists and soil scientists from across the country, and they have done research for us in the past, or we've seen them at conferences presenting information about their research. And we know who the best speaker is on any given topic, and we'll try to find those people to ask them to help us out with a given topic. We use university people. We've got some of my colleagues here at Nutrien that we get on, and from other companies as well from time to time.
You have such an easygoing manner about you when you do this show here. Did you have experience in podcasting before you embarked upon this journey?
I had never done anything like this at all. Brand new.
Excellent. So what's the experience been like for you?
It has been great. I've got to do some things through this that I never thought would be possible to do. Got to meet a lot of people and really had a good time doing it.
So you got through the first season. That's out here. Now season 2 is getting ready to drop. What can folks expect from this season, and when will that begin to appear?
We're going to drop our first episode the first Tuesday in March. I believe that's March the 7th. And we're going to start off with some of our earlier planted crops this year. We're going to talk about corn and canola, fertility recommendations for those crops. We've got some guests lined up that'll tell us what we need to know about fertilizing corn for the at planting, and then later on into the season, what we need to do. We've got a new segment. Last year we ended the season talking about our tailgates at the local football games. We're not going to be tailgating right now, so we've got another segment that we're going to drop in there. We're going to talk about famous people in agronomy, and we all know about people like John Deere and Eli Whitney, but we've got some people that you may not think about that we're going to talk about a little bit as well, and throw some credit back to some of our ancestors that helped us out getting started in this agriculture world.
Excellent. Tell me about the planning process for that. I mean, what went into that? Did you have names on the top of your head there, or did you do a little digging, or how did that come about?
We had the idea to start doing that, and I threw the idea out to my coworkers. We had 4 agronomists that were on the team here in Nutrien, and we kicked it around, and within just a few minutes, we had a list of about 20 people, and we started developing from that. And it's taken a little time to do a little more background research, so we have more than just a name to throw out there. But we've got a pretty good list of people we're going to start talking about.
So once this podcast hit the street and people started finding out about it, it sounds like things started picking up for you guys in terms of requests for getting you out to not only the field, but also to farm shows and conferences and conventions, and kind of sparked an interest in the knowledge that you guys bring.
I still can't believe how many people are listening to the podcast. We had a little over 36,000 listeners in our first season. Couldn't believe those numbers. And what really amazes me is I think we ended up with 46 different countries. People are listening. We've got comments from people from Australia, and I'll show up at a live event and start talking, and somebody will walk up and say, "Hey, you're the guy on the dirt," and it amazes me that this many people are listening to what we have to say. But hope they're getting some good out of it.
I mean, do you carry a Sharpie pen in your pocket at this point?
No, we're not that famous. Don't do anything like that. But
Well, we should mention that coming up here over the next few weeks, we're going to launch a quarterly Ask the Agronomist Q&A live stream in which we'll solicit some questions ahead of time and then have Mike and his colleagues take a crack at answering them. So be sure to be following Rural Strong Media on our Facebook page so you'll know when the air dates for that are announced here, because the more we can get farmers in the room and get to talking about some of these topics, I think the more valuable it's going to be for everybody involved and for the industry. And, in that opening segment that I played, you talked a bit about the eKonomics website, Nutrien-eKonomics.com. Let's go a little deeper there. What will people find on the website, and how will it help them save money and increase their yield and hopefully make money?
We've got several tools on there that can help out. We've got a growing degree day calculator. We know a lot of these crops, different growing degree temperatures trigger different responses in crops or different signals we need to make applications. So we can, whatever crop we're looking at, we can figure out the growing degree days for your specific location. We've got a rainfall tracker. We've got information there that's tied into weather stations all across the country, and you can keep up with the rainfall on your farm. We've got research information from across the country, and it's not specifically Nutrien research that we're doing. If we go to a conference and we hear somebody that's got a presentation on something new and something exciting, or if we just read about it in a journal article, we'll link to that and get that information out there. We do have some things that we'll post on there. We recently did a soybean booklet that goes through fertility on soybeans, and that can be found on there. Anything and everything you need to know. And we've got other crops coming as well. I think we've got corn lined up. We'll be there very soon. We've got forages coming, canola and potatoes. So there's a lot of that type information on eKonomics.com.
So when you signed up to become an agronomist, I would imagine content creator wasn't in the job description, was it?
No, that's something that's been added. I think COVID had a lot to do with that being forced on us. We come up with different content and try to keep fresh information out there at all times.
But you're enjoying it though?
I'm loving it. Every day is a new adventure. Wouldn't be wanting to do anything else.
I love your passion for it. And, as I was standing, I'm in the Louisville, Kentucky metropolitan area here. And as I was standing in the kitchen making the kids' lunches this morning, you know what I heard?
What's that?
I heard some birds chirping, which, despite what the groundhog said here, man, it kind of gets you in the frame of mind for spring here. So I know planting season is just around the corner. What kind of feedback are you hearing from farmers right now as you kind of put your ear to the ground here? What are the big concerns that they're dealing with as they prepare to roll out the planters, and how can you guys help with that?
Well, the biggest concern on everybody's mind right now is price. The price of everything has gone up recently, and we're trying to help them look at these prices, work through their budgets, and make sure that they're going to be able to make a profit on this. There's still room to make profits. You just have to understand what you're spending your dollars on and make sure every dollar you spend is going to have a return on that investment. You mentioned soil sampling earlier. That's one of the reasons we're pushing that so hard this year. We want to make sure that any nutrients we're applying to those fields are justified, and we're not just making applications for the sake of making those applications. A lot of these growers are listening to the weather forecast, not just a groundhog, but there's a lot of meteorologists out there that are saying it's going to be a tight planting window for most of the country this year. They think it'll dry up enough that we can get in, but there's a lot of rainfall predicted across the eastern U.S. during planting season. So everybody needs to stay on their toes and make sure they're ready to go when the time gets right.
Right. And if folks are curious about anything that they hear there, how can they get a hold of your folks here to get in touch with agronomists or work hand in hand with them to really help maximize what they're doing?
There's a link on the eKonomics website called Ask the Agronomist. You can punch in any question you have right there, and we'll reply to that. If you need to get in touch with us one-on-one, you can shoot us an email through that same link, and somebody will get back in touch with you as soon as possible.
So outside of the dirt, which I would imagine you're spending a lot of time on, what else are you working on these days?
Well, I'm not getting to spend nearly as much time on the dirt as I had planned to this time of year. We are going to trade shows and grower meetings just about every day. I've got 2 open days during the month of February, and I kind of think those will get taken up here pretty quick. So, doing a lot of traveling the first part of the year, different speaking engagements, going to different trade shows, interacting with growers, and that type of stuff. Also working with our university cooperators, trying to get our research plots lined up for this year and make sure we get all of those in place.
So when you go to all those farm shows and conventions, what's the general vibe there? What's the feeling like from farmers right now?
There's a lot of excitement right now. Growers are ready to get started, get this cropped in the ground, and this time of year, everybody's been inside way too long, and they're ready to get out and get their hands dirty again. So a lot of excitement right now. People are just waiting on the right date to get out there and get started.
Right. And aside from the excitement, I know there's always a little bit of trepidation in this business. You know, people get a little stressed out, want to know how they can do more with less and meet some of the demands that they need to meet. How do you? Where does the excitement come from for you when you punch in every day here and see the opportunities that are there? Because technology has taken this business very far, and it's really it's provided some opportunities to do things that the farmers frankly couldn't do in the past.
Yeah, and that's my passion. I just love to work with growers. I love to help them solve problems. One thing I get asked a lot is, should I grow corn or cotton or soybeans? What looks the best? And that's going to be different for every grower. We like to ask a few questions and see what is available to them at this time, and work through their budgets on their end and help them get that thing lined up and ready to go. So anything we can do to help growers be more profitable, that's going to help us down the road as well. We've got to have a partnership with these growers. If they're not in business making money, we're not going to be in the business very long either. So,
All right. And I know as technology's changed, double cropping has become more of an issue, and that's something that you guys have focused on. Is that something you guys get a lot of questions about?
not specifically in my part of the world. We make double crop some soybeans and wheat, but I know in other areas of the country, they are doing a lot of double cropping, and my colleagues get a lot of questions about that.
Mhm. Any other special questions you get, or some common refrains that keep coming up time and again?
We always get questions about nitrogen management. How can we protect these nitrogen investments? And we like to walk through the ways that we can lose nitrogen and how the best way to protect that nitrogen is.
Well, again, we want to make sure that we get that website out there. Again, Nutrien-economics.com. That's eKonomics. So make sure that you dial in on that website here, and it's constantly being updated with the latest in information. And Mike, before we let you go, anything else on your mind we want to make sure we touch on?
We just want to thank everybody for their support. We couldn't do this without our listeners. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to us. And we're even talking about doing a live episode at some point this year. Never done anything like that, but we may be looking for some growers to be live on the dirt this year.
That would be exciting.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that.
Well, I tell you what, Mike, it's been an honor to have you here on the show today, and I want to thank you and the rest of the team at Nutrien for being such an important sponsor here for Rural Strong Media and our programming. It means a lot for this fledgling company to be aligned with a company with the expertise and reputation, if I can spit it out, of Nutrien.
Well, we sure appreciate it, and didn't know anything about what you were doing until we met a few months ago at the Farm Broadcasters meeting, and
Right.
Started listening to some of the programs and really enjoying that.
Well, I sure appreciate it. You know, we are working hard to be the definitive voice of rural America, to let folks know about not only agronomy information, but policy and farm equipment and some of the hot button news of the day in agriculture. So I hope everybody who's stumbling across this here will check it out, ruralstrongmedia.com, or our Tractors and Troubadours podcast. And again, Mike, thanks so much for taking the time to join us here today. And we can't wait to do the next one here.
Thanks a lot. I really enjoyed it.
And we want to thank everybody for joining us today and invite you to check back in with me here this evening at 7 Eastern when emerging country music artist Evie May is going to join us to discuss her budding career and her latest single, Wrong Side of Jesus. And I believe she'll even play a couple songs for us here, so you're not going to want to miss that. Again, that's at 7 p.m. Eastern right here on Rural Strong Live. And we're going to give you just a taste of that here if we got just a minute here. So you understand what I'm saying when I say this girl's got the chops to be one of the next up-and-comers here.
Thought your words would slow me down, said I was wasting my time. Oh, but look at me now. No, I ain't made it where I'm heading, but it's further than the day you said I never amount to anything. You're just living on the wrong side of Jesus. No one sees it, got everyone thinking. Shut you off, but you cut us loose. You ain't who I used to know. Back then your love's one in the most. I ain't one to judge, but I call it like I see it. Living on the wrong side of Jesus.
So with that passes true country music down in Mississippi way there.
Most definitely. I've got to do a little more investigating into that. I love country music and have not had a chance to hear her before.
Excellent. Well, come back tonight at 7 Eastern and check out Evie May. Before we get out of here, Mike, I want to make one more plug here for The Dirt. That new season is going to be starting again the first week in March, correct?
That's right. March the 7th will be the first episode of the second season.
And folks can find that again, Nutrien-economics.com. So make sure you go and listen to The Dirt, and make sure you stick with us here on Rural Strong Media. Busy times here as well as we continue to build on our agricultural and country music programming. And we invite you to get plugged in and be an active member of the Rural Strong community. Later this week, we're going to have a live stream with a representative of Case IH, and we got to put on that hat here too. We've got the 100th anniversary of the legendary Farmall brand. So if you love that red equipment, or you're just looking to be get some more information here, you're a classic tractor enthusiast, you're not going to want to miss that show. We're still working to pin down the particulars. It's either going to be tomorrow or Thursday, and we're going to have the exact date and time on the Rural Strong Media Facebook page. So make sure you go and follow that and join us for that. That'll be a fascinating discussion. I know we've got a lot of antique tractor enthusiasts that follow here, so you're not going to want to miss that discussion about the 100th anniversary of Farmall. In the meantime, we'd love for you to subscribe to the Tractors and Troubadours podcast, where each week we bring you agriculture industry newsmakers, hot button industry issues, educational features, and the best in traditional country music, Western swing, and bluegrass music. And the Tractors and Troubadours podcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Deezer, Audible, Odyssey, the Samsung Free app, and Player FM. And we drop a new episode each Friday, 52 weeks a year. So be sure to subscribe, leave us a rating and a comment, and share it on the socials so we can continue to reach as many people in rural America as possible. We also invite you to listen to Rural Strong Radio, our 24/7 streaming radio station found at ruralstrongmedia.com or on the Live 365 streaming radio app. Each day we bring you Tractors and Troubadours, as well as the Bottom Line Report with Mark Oppold, Farm Gate with Stu Ellis, and the Ag Law and Tax Report with Roger McOwen. And as we told you, we also bring you The Dirt from our friend Mike Howell on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, and on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. And when we're not sharing ag intel, we're playing the best in traditional country music, as well as Western swing, bluegrass, southern rock, and inspirational music. And we invite you to make that a part of your day and take it wherever you go. You're going to be spending some long hours in the field here coming up. Get that tractor streaming and turn us on here so you can take us wherever you go. Well, I tell you what, we want to say a special thank you again to the folks at Nutrien for making this live stream possible. And check back in again tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern, as we spend some time with Evie May. Well, friends and neighbors, the clock on the wall tells us it's time to get on out of here. So for now, it's Brent Adams inviting you to join me again, 7 Eastern tonight. Until then, make it a great day, everybody.